Good morning. We'll call the April 9th, 2025 Development Review Committee meeting to order. We'll start with attendance. Community Development is present. Police.
Mike McKinley.
Public Works will not be in attendance today. Fire.
Jeremy Holderfield.
And Building.
John Hansen's here.
Okay. So we have two items on the agenda. The first is special exception, Joy Child Academy. It's to allow a daycare center in a residential zoning district. And June Sons, the project manager.
Good morning. The applicant has requested special exception permit for child care facility on 4410 and 4420 Chandler Road. The total size of the property is 5.12 acres. With the future land use of residential very low suburban and RSF1A zoning district, the property is currently used for residential and vacant, and proposed use for child care facility is permitted use with a special exception. The surrounding properties has land use of residential with a single family houses, and public school, which is Kelly Park School, is within 1.1 mile from the properties. The applicant is available for any questions.
All right. Any questions of June or the applicant?
I do. Is this strictly going to be daycare, or is it going to be a school/daycare? You're going to have to come up to the mic. I'm
And
sorry.
yeah, if you could come up to the mic so we can get it on. Yes.
Hi, my name is Camila. We will be opening a daycare. It'll be from infant to 12-year-old. We will only give from infant to 5-year-old care, and then before and after for 5-year-olds to 13 years old.
Okay, so there's no intent for it
To-
ever to become a school.
No, that's not.
And my concern
that's-
is parking, because we already get complaints about the traffic because of the K through 8 down the street. And if you don't have the property or the parking means to ensure that people aren't going to be backed up onto Jason Dwelly, then that's going to create an issue. But if you only have daycare, I don't think it's as much of an issue as start and stop times with a school.
It's only going to be a daycare.
Okay.
We've been in the business for over 16 years here in Apopka, so we're not planning to change it.
Are you
Just-
moving from another location, or?
Yes, Apopka Child Academy. It's
Oh.
our first location.
Okay.
And this will be our second one.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for the applicant? All right, hearing none, community development has nothing further than what June presented. Police, anything additional?
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Fire,
No comments.
building.
I don't have anything. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. And June will be in contact with you about public hearing dates and scheduling to take it forward. Yes, ma'am.
Painless, huh? Have a good day.
All right. The next item, major development plan, Spring Haven, formerly known as Chandler Hills. I'm the project manager. This is a major development plan in the KPI. The city council recently approved a master plan of rezoning to allow this as a KPI development. This is the major development plan. If I can get it to load on the screen, which appears like it won't. It's consistent with the master plan that was approved by the city council. The applicant's here in attendance. Did you have any questions or comments for the DRC?
No, I just need the full comments.
Okay. Yeah. I believe the public services or public works comments are still outstanding, and we'll get those for you. Any questions or comments from the development review committee on this one?
Have we resolved Chandler Road?
The what? I'm sorry.
I'm
Luke
sorry.
Klassen, Appin Engineering. Sorry.
What are we doing with Chandler Road, or the alleged Chandler Road, or no Chandler Road, or?
We're dedicating the 50-foot of right-of-way that we have on the west side of the project. The development to the west of us, IMB Homes is doing a portion of it, and they're saving the commercial to the north. They would, whenever the commercial comes in, dedicate the rest, from my understanding.
So is it going to be a road? Is it not going to be a road? I mean,
We
the
were asked
future.
to dedicate right-of-way on our west side, and so we're doing that.
Yeah, they dedicated a range, I believe, between 15 and 50 feet
Mhm.
for Chandler Road.
So out of all these developments that are going to be up in that area, who's going to be responsible for making it a road? Is it the city?
Probably be the city eventually, yes.
One other question, I think you and I have talked about this in the past, Luke, but when you do your traffic study, is it taking into account all the subdivisions that have been planned on Kelly Park Road prior to your approval? Because those are impacting the traffic it shouldn't be a traffic study that's done on the current traffic
Mhm.
conditions, because the subdivisions that are under construction or been approved before your project's been approved are impacting those numbers.
My understanding, so the traffic consultants that we use typically are a couple different ones. My understanding is they submit what's called a methodology report to the city, and the city will respond and say, not only here's the exit, because they'll have the background data, they call it, so they'll go and get trips currently, so that gives them like the current snapshot today trips being generated, and then they go to the city and say, okay, what other projects have been entitled or are under construction or are about to come online within the 1 mile and 2 mile radius, and then they take those into account as well. That's my understanding of how methodology works, but I don't get too deep into the traffic. I do the design for the turn lanes once the traffic engineer does the report and tells me what turn lane improvements are required. But that's my understanding is yes, they do.
Do you know if that's what's happened, Bobby?
That's my understanding, but I am not a traffic planner. That's not my realm of expertise. So I'm a land use planner, but traffic is a specialized thing that usually, like he was saying, a transportation planner or transportation engineer will conduct the research, and then it's reviewed by someone here. It's my understanding that's been reviewed by our public works staff.
Like, for instance, for this one, they did take into account the INB development to the west, even though that's not even under construction. They're about where we're at. I think they're moving forward their construction plans right now, so they're maybe a couple months ahead of us. But they took them into account as the proposed to add them to the background trips, and then they assumed the IMB development assumed a standard commercial, because you don't know what is going to come on the north side adjacent to Kelly Park. They assumed a standard commercial like trip generation, because it's a big difference if you do a Starbucks versus a dry cleaner. You know what I mean? And so they just assumed some kind of value for trips generated from commercial, and our traffic engineer took those trips as well. So they included those trips as background data or as existing, quote unquote.
Yeah. You don't know who in the city reviews that?
It's my understanding right now it's been Diana Almodovar.
Yeah.
Who?
Diana Almodovar.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'll check.
She reviewed this one, I know for sure.
Well, I just want to make sure that we're, as a city, looking at all these developments that we have under construction or planned, as these new developments and requests for developments come in, that they're taking into consideration the traffic impact that the ones that are already approved or under construction are creating to that road, and not just going by existing conditions. And I think if we're not, we need to, and if the code doesn't, stipulate that, it probably should, because we got a lot of things going on, and for a subdivision of this size especially to come in and not take into account the other subdivisions that already been planned or approved that are going to impact the infrastructure of that road, then we're missing the ball.
I want to say your code does state that in the methodology requirements, and that is what has occurred on this project. The only thing that's in question is what commercial goes in to the northwest, because you just don't know. But they assumed a generic commercial value of trips generated.
I don't think that piece of property's big enough for too much of an impact, but
I think the cell phone tower really restricts it, but I'm not their engineer. I don't know exactly what they've planned, but I know that they're actively marketing it right now for something.
okay. Thank you.
No problem. I did also want to ask police, on this property, there's a total of I forgot what it is, 16 nurseries, 3 homes, and a couple barns. Would the police or fire want to use them to have fun and blow them up, or do hostage situations?
We may
like we've done
want
in
it
the
as a
past?
traying opportunity. You have Sergeant Harmon's phone number,
Yeah,
don't you?
can we reach out
Can
to
you
him?
reach out to him and just
Okay.
coordinate whether or not
I mean-
we would like to do training, or the SWAT team would like to do training on that property?
The only thing I was worried about is because it's next to the school, we're directly adjacent, but it's a big enough property where I think you can give good space in that and do whatever drills you want.
Well, as long as we notify the school, or we just don't use anything significant during it, it could still be a training opportunity
Mhm.
without loud noises.
Okay.
if-
This
if
developer is more than willing to sign the hold harmless letter, whereas I know the last one I tried to do, that developer was not as willing to do that.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
What's the time frame on?
This is the MDP. We've already started the CSP. We're probably 6 months, give or take, from approval, assuming everything goes well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll email our training chief on that.
So probably 6 to 9 months before their construction would start. So around the 6-month mark,
Works great for us.
Yeah. They should close around then. Yeah.
And I know Chief mentioned Chandler Road. What's going on with it? We're still gonna have access to the rest of Chandler Road. That's correct. During construction, it's not gonna cause us issues getting back on Chandler Road to any of the properties.
No, we're not improving Chandler Road. We're just dedicating. So right now, it's kind of a weird situation. Currently, that 15-foot strip is actually owned by Orchid Estates HOA. It doesn't make sense, and I agree it was a mess up back in the day. We're trying to fix the problem. So it's currently a private tract. It's not a road. And a couple of the properties that access off there actually don't have easements. They have historical right. They've accessed it for years, so we're not trying to deny them access, but it's not currently set up correctly where they have legal rights to access the road. We'll take the existing 15-foot that goes north-south, and the section that we have more property, because there's a portion that's to the west of that existing nursery that's right there on the southeast corner, and that's not part of our project. They're not willing to sell. I forgot the name of the nursery, but I can look it up for you. But that's the only portion that's like not part of our block. So we only have 15 feet there. We're dedicating that as public right of way, and then right when our property starts and expands, we're dedicating the full 50 feet, so that it's set up to become a road in the future. But timing of that, I don't know.
I'll go out and take a look at it. I know we have an emergency access to Oak Hill.
Correct. Yeah, that's on the set. We're maintaining that. There's an emergency access on the south, and it's in the plan, but I know we can't bring it up. We're maintaining that access, so we're not doing any improvements. It's going to stay exactly as is. You have the emergency access, and then there's actually one resident down there that owns 10 acres. It's either 5 or 10 acres. He's staying, and he does not want to sell.
All right.
At the very, very right past the emergency access, the last parcel, he's the one holdout.
Okay. Thank you.
Your construction traffic is going to come off Kelly Park.
Correct. Yeah, we're actually going to block out, even when we do the construction, we're not going to give our residents access to Chandler Road unless it gets expanded in the future. But because we're not improving it, we're just going to build that access point like a future stub out, but then block it off. But all our access is coming off Kelly Park. And
I
then
just want to make sure the road's not going to deteriorate by construction use or
Mm-mm.
construction vehicles, because there are going to be homes back there that we're still going to have to be able to access.
Correct.
Especially the fire truck.
And we're also doing I know that the new rule that you like is we're doing a concrete paved access that connects to that Orchid Estates 20-foot emergency access strip. We're doing our lift station up there, and then we're building a concrete strip to connect to that. I think theirs is not paved. That was before you asked it to be paved, but up to our property line, we'll pave ours with concrete. Is what's currently planned.
Thank you.
So you'll have that access, and then there's also a future stub out at the northwest, north of the school, for whatever goes in there. I was actually thinking it'd make a lot of sense to do a daycare, but now I see the daycare's going to the south. So whatever goes there in the future, you'll be able to connect to that as well. Off of Jason Valley, no problem.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. Community development has nothing further. Police,
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
fire,
No comments. Thank you.
building.
I don't have anything. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Luke, for the resubmittal. Okay, any other items for discussion? Hearing none, we're adjourned.